The second principle of Anusara yoga is muscular engagement. So muscular engagement can be focused on the physical practice for sure. Also, though, it has a deeper meaning. It's that drawing into oneself, bringing the practice in to connect with our innate strength. Going back to how we use it in the poses, though, muscular engagement comes next after the first principle of setting the foundation and opening to grace, in the form of drawing muscular power inside of the pose. And the central point is one, two, or three of three places. You can choose to focus on just one, or you could combine two, or you could do all three. So the first one, and the one that I primarily teach with, is the focal point of the pose, which basically means the most weight-bearing point of the pose. It is usually the center of the pelvis. If you've taken yoga from me, if you do my videos, you hear me say, draw into the center of the pelvis and anchor back down. So that's exactly where it is. It's right here. It's the middle part of the pelvis. It's when you're, this is the focal point when you're in standing poses, or when you're in any sort of, standing one leg, two legs, but any sort of pose, it is the default. Also, if you're, say, in plank, where you're even and you're going this direction, the central focal point defaults to the center of the pelvis. So in most poses, it's usually there. However, there are other poses where it is the base of the heart, which is this central point here, like right underneath the base of the heart center. And that would be your arm balances, including downward facing dog, drawing into this point. And then the next part is organic expansion, which we're not there yet, but it's drawing into that point. The third place is the back of the palate. So again, I can't point there, but that would be for headstand, bridge pose, shoulder stand, everything draws into this space. So that's when you're working with focal point. So I should say, before I explain muscular engagement a little bit more, muscular energy, muscular engagement, it is part one of a dual process. You're drawing in, and then you're also expanding out with organic expansion. So it's not just the drawing in, but I'm only going to talk about that part because I'm talking about the second principle, which is muscular engagement. So muscular engagement is either going to one of the focal points, whichever one is appropriate for your pose. If it's the middle of the pelvis, it's drawing everything into the middle of the pelvis. If it's the base of the heart, everything into the base of the heart. Same with the palate. That's option one. Option two is the muscular engagement point might be just the midline. So if you had a plumb line that went down from the center part of your head and just went straight down your body and back up, everything hugs in, right to left, front to back, even diagonally, everything draws into that point. And that's kind of the point where you stand up really tall. You just, oh, here we are. So that's the other point. The third option, and again, you can combine them, is drawing into the core lines of the body. So the core lines of the body are basically where the bones are. So everything from where your fingers are, down through your arms, down through your whole skeletal structure, just gentle but firm at the same time, hugging onto the bones. You'll never hear me say squeeze. You'll never hear me say harden or flex. If we do it too strongly, not only are we not able to also then expand, but we can override that first principle, which is set the foundation open to grace. If we put too much of our own personal effort in, it gets out of balance. So it's just a gentle hugging, but it's steady. I mean, to do some of these poses, even standing or triangle pose, it's important to have a steadfast element. So that's muscular engagement. Again, you can think of it as beyond your yoga physical practice as just, I'm drawing in, I'm taking in whatever's happening now, I'm taking it in, and I'm bringing it into my internal experience. I'm bringing in also the power that is innately mine, filled with grace. It's got effort and surrender. So it's that kind of drawing into oneself. That's the second principle of Anusara yoga, muscular engagement.